location. I'm up here having a fun little winter camp. I intended to film a little bit of stuff last night, but I got a little too busy before I got on my way up here. I parked my truck at the bottom of the canyon. It was just getting dark and it was snowing. So I put on my snowshoes, come on up here with my headlamp on, and I got up, I set up my camp. I did a super shelter, which I'm going to show you, using our PSS XL, and I'll show you that in a moment. But anyway, had a good time setting all that up last night, had dinner, had a great night's sleep, got up this morning, had breakfast and all that sort of thing. I've been hiking around a little bit in my snowshoes here this morning, and now I'm going to show you the super shelter. And since I couldn't show you constructing it, I'm going to show you the shelter and I'm going to deconstruct it so you can see how I did it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I've done it lots and lots of different ways, but the basic principles are the same. So let's get on up here and take a look at this thing. This is the super shelter, and I've made some other videos using tarps and other things. This time I used a PSS XL sil nylon poncho, actually. Not that it matters, but just to show you can do it even with a poncho. But it looks a little haggard now because when I went out for a snowshoe this morning, and for about an hour and a half or so, and when I came back, the fire had kind of fallen over a little bit and threw some sparks on there and melted the plastic on the front. But anyway, that doesn't matter because this thing's disposable anyway, the front part. So basically, a super shelter is kind of the brainchild of Morris Kahansky up in Canada, the guru of survival, outdoor living, and basically what it does is it turns it makes kind of a greenhouse type shelter with the fire acting as the sun. And what happens is the radiant heat from the fire goes through the clear plastic inside, is trapped inside, and warms it up. But anyway, so the super shelter does a few things for you. It helps. You don't get any of the smoke in there, so you're not breathing any smoke while you're in there. It blocks the breeze and the wind, that sort of thing. It captures the heat and holds it in there. It captures radiant energy from the fire, and I'll show you what else we do in here. We're kind of bouncing that stuff around inside so it doesn't just pass through and go out. We're trying to capture as much radiant heat from the fire as we can, and so it basically makes it so I tell people when I take them out and put them in one of these for camping, don't bring your sleeping bag, because it'd be colder inside the sleeping bag than if you laid on top of the sleeping bag, because you're getting your heat, most of your heat you're getting from the radiant heat from the fire. So if you're insulated from receiving that heat, it's not going to be as warm as it would be. So anyway, we typically, like I just slept in these clothes right here that I had on when I was at work yesterday at our shop, and I just came up. I didn't even put any, I didn't even put any long johns on or anything. And this shirt right here is cotton, which I normally don't wear a cotton shirt up here, but I did. So anyway, so this front piece right here, this plastic is disposable. And we typically like to use something like a painter's plastic or something. They're really cheap, and half mil or 3/4 mil, fairly light. They pack up really small. And then typically you might use it once or twice and then throw it away. But that's your window, that's your greenhouse glass, basically your window to let the radiant heat in. So flip this thing up here, and I think I'm actually gonna sit down in here. It's a little more comfortable. Even just like this, it's considerably warmer than being up there because the wind is pretty much blocking me. I don't have much of a fire here, but I can feel it. and whatever radiant energy is there comes back, bounces off this mylar space blanket, and then reflects back onto me from the back. So I'm warm from the front, from the fire, from the back, from the mylar. Now I've kind of pulled this up out of the way so you can kind of see back in here. Anyway, so that makes it inside here is just like at home. Like I slept here just in these clothes here, just laid down right here. I had to stoke up the fire about 4 times during the night, which is typical. If you get in an area where you have bigger diameter wood, you might be able to do it in two loads or whatever, but it's not a big deal. I usually get it all ready before I go to bed, and then that way when I get up and need to add some more, I just get up, throw a couple pieces on, go back to bed. Very simple. So anyway, so that's this is the super shelter. The mylar, I just go wrap it over the ridge line right here, fasten it on with some easy clips, which if you're not familiar with those, we sell those on our website, but I'll show you an up close of that. And I actually will use them down the sides and stuff like that if I need to clip them on. So if you're laying in here on your back, you feel warmth on your chest because of that energy coming up, hitting, and bouncing down on top of you. So that's one of the things that really makes it nice and warm. And but it's really cozy anyway, and it's a great little shelter. I love using these things. They're really fun. They're easy to put up. I put this one up when I got here. It was well after dark when I set this up, and it took me maybe I don't know, 15 minutes to set it up or so. A lot of that was because I had to pack this area down because this sloped down right here, so I built it up with some boughs and snow and more boughs, so I had a level platform to be on. But it doesn't take long to put up. It's lightweight. The little painter's plastic weighs almost nothing. The mylar weighs nothing and packs really small. Any kind of nylon fabric you want to use, it can be breathable or whatever, which is, like I say, like a parachute fabric or something like that. All that works pretty good. We're probably going to actually make a little kit that will be the breathable ripstop nylon, the mylar, the painter's plastic, and some easy clips and everything, and set a whole deal up for you so you have everything you need all in a kit. But anyway, even if you don't have that, you can use a tarp or a poncho. Anything like that works good. Just add some easy clips and a painter's plastic, you're good to go. Right here on the where I'm at, originally I piled up these pine boughs about a foot deep, and then I've laid on them all night so they're squished down a little bit. But by doing that, I don't feel any cold from underneath me. It's cold just initially because the pine boughs are cold, but once you lay on it just a few minutes, or you have your fire going and it's reflecting down on it, it'll warm them up. Then when you get in here, they're nice and warm and cozy. Alright, so here's one of the easy clips. This is the MIDI. We use a lot of the minis just to get, if you want an extra tie-out point or something on a tarp or a poncho. The MIDI opens wider, and I like to use the MIDI on stuff like this because I'm going around parachute cord and everything, so I'm thicker where I go around there, so I like the MIDI for that. But basically it has a little ratcheting deal. You see that right there? It's got a wedge on it. When that wedge slides up in there, it grips and tightens down on that, and then these little ratchets right here lock it down. So that's how we can do that's how I'll do the mylar on there. You can use the minis as well. They're a little bit tougher because they don't open quite as wide, but I can gob a good bit of stuff around a ridge line like this and bite down it with that. So that works good. So that's how I kind of tie everything off, and then basically I would do this painter's plastic with it on top as well. But I just kind of threw that up there for right now. But that's how we hook everything together. And it just goes back inside of there like that. And like I say, normally that comes pretty much straight across right there. I just kind of pulled it up so you could see that that goes back inside of there. It doesn't have to, mine just did because of the slope of the hill and everything. But over here you see I've got another MIDI clip right here holding all this in together. And I put another one down here when the painter's plastic is draping down. I put one down here near the bottom to hold the poncho together and the painter's plastic, so it was all together. And then a lot of times I fasten the mylar up either with duct tape or I run a string across or something to hold all the corners in and everything. But I had some gear stashed back on there, and that kind of held the bottom back, and it worked just fine, so I didn't bother. Then here's how the back side looks. I've kind of unfastened things a little bit now. I was getting ready to pack up here, but but anyway, I had this kind of tagged down with an easy clip as well down here at the bottom. It's tied together right here, with the knot and the mylar and everything, the poncho, everything's all gobbed right into there and tied off with a slip knot. So that kind of pulls back and holds it up. And the rest of this just kind of drapes down there. And but anyway, worked really nice. It was very cozy for me last night, and I have to put me some more clothes on or get in here because it's a little chilly out here. But anyway, Perry Peacock Wilderness Innovation. Enjoy your time outdoors. I always do, and I love to use these kind of shelters in the cooler weather. Whenever you're in an area that you have a good bit of wood that's readily accessible, this is a very nice option. Works really, really well. Nice and warm. You don't have to bring a sleeping bag or a blanket with you or anything like that. You just jump in there and you're good to go.